Sirens, airstrikes and evacuation orders. Tragically familiar scenes as the war in the Middle East engulfs Lebanon, plunging the country into crisis, killing hundreds and displacing hundreds of thousands of people in the south of the country. It's a harrowing reality that Lebanese people on the ground and abroad are having to deal with, including the country's artists. One of them joins me in the studio, musician and producer Zeid Hamdan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And filmmaker Wissam Charaf is with us via video link from Beirut. Hi, Wissam.
Hi, how are you?
Well, these last few days for you in the Lebanese capital must have been extremely tense. How are things there at the moment?
It's a day-to-day basis, actually. We're just following the instructions as they happen, and we can't do anything about them. So we're like useless spectators, watching everything unfold, this big story unfold in front of our eyes. But the streets are empty, the country's paralyzed, and we have this really bad sensation of a deja vu. Of a broken record that keeps spinning on and on every year and a half. So there's a big feeling of more than tiredness, beginning to touch the emptiness, the void, despair.
Absolutely, an emotional sort of exhaustion. Now, Zeid, you're known in music circles, of course, in happier times, as the father of Arab indie music, formerly part of the cult duo Soap Kills, blending classical Arabic sounds with electro, reggae, trip-hop, and then you went on to working with a Syrian musician, Lin Adib, more recently. You're based in Paris now. How did it feel to watch this war erupt in your home from afar?
Yes, again, it's like a cycle. Unfortunately, a cycle, like we relive the same bombings of our country and the same worries and those same nights without sleep and torment. So that's what's crazy. How do we break this cycle, So those first few days are torment and shock. And then we have to go to practical matters, is how can we help? How can we support the families that are on the streets? So I think I'm still in this shock because it's so fresh.
And of course, Zeid, you know Wissam because you've worked together recently creating the soundtrack for his 2022 film, Dirty, Difficult, Dangerous. And Wissam, while this is a fantastical love story, this film, it is informed by the socio-political situation in Lebanon. One of your protagonists is a Syrian refugee. It's not a sunny picture at all. Since that bomb blast in Beirut in 2020, how have you seen conditions change for people in Lebanon?
It has been a multi-layer crisis, actually. I mean, it would be even absurd or funny to count them, since the explosion, then the COVID, that we even had an earthquake, for a change, then the first war, then now another war. It's a multi-layer crisis that's piling up on us. So as artists, actually, we don't have time to process a crisis. And we have to intake another one. So it's too fast for us. Usually you have to take in events as they happen, and to process them, and then and this process can take years of, rendering the events into an artistic form, and then giving it out in a form of film, in a form of music, or you name it. So it's going so fast that we don't even have time to process an event. So today it's very, very hard to concentrate, and to be able to think about anything. It has been going on since 2019, since 5 years. And this maybe explains also why many artists of the Lebanese scene have left the country, because it has been very hard, to create art, or to be able to even think or concentrate about an artistic view. We are like glued in the daily bad energy that's piling up on Lebanon since 2019.
And like you say, your concerns are more humanitarian and perhaps less artistic. Zeid, following that devastating explosion in Beirut, I know that you were very active in fundraising events, supporting NGOs and humanitarian associations. You're now taking part in a similar initiative here in Paris to support Iran, organised by filmmaker Sepideh Farsi. Tell us about what that event consists of.
Well, this event was planned prior to the invasion, the threats and invasion on Lebanon. But on the 25th, we are also preparing an event for Lebanon. The thing is, we are just a same population under the tyranny, of the powerful. There is a clan of people that don't follow the law, and there are us, artists and people, that have to support each other. It's the only reaction, it's the only way for us to keep sane, is to, first of all, gather, speak the words that allow us to stay sane, and then to try to help and support each other. It's the only way for us, because if not, we are really going insane psychologically.
And so do you feel that the artistic community or artists themselves have a responsibility to speak out, to lobby for certain outcomes on the geopolitical stage even?
It is a real responsibility. Artists, filmmakers, we need to be there for the people. We need to do our thing, and we need to gather support and help.
And Wissam, over the last 20 years, of course, you've made fiction and documentary films in Lebanon, all of them influenced to a greater or lesser extent by the instability in the country. Do you think that Lebanese artists can afford to be apolitical these days?
I don't think so, because if they are not political, if they cannot serve as a catharsis for the people, to be able to express their pain, nobody will do. I mean, in Lebanon, after the civil war, there hasn't been a work of memory such as the ones having been made in South Africa or Germany after the Second World War. So we are still living in our demons, and the successive governments have never had that priority of trying to reconcile the people. So we are still living in that, and I think the artist's jobs is, unfortunately, to bear this responsibility today, and to act as facilitators of this catharsis, of reconciliation between the people, of alleviating their pains through expressing the pain. Otherwise, no one will take care of that process, which is sometimes even more important than the humanitarian. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with that word. Humanitarian process, because unfortunately, you can give food to someone, you can give water, you can give a shelter. This is short-term, but long-term work requires art, I think.
Indeed. And Zeid, you recently brought together a cast of international artists to honour the legacy of Egyptian diva Kulthum at the Avignon Theatre Festival last year on that stage in the Palais des Papes. She was a great unifying figure for Arab culture, beloved by so many. In a region so fractioned now, damaged, do you still see arts and culture as a vector for Arab identity?
Not only for identity, we need artists or people that have access to platforms such as Avignon. They need to use those platforms to remind not only the Arab audiences, but the worldwide audiences about the righteous way, about the law, about the importance of all of us as one nation to follow the law, not allow lawless dictators to rule our lives. This is the role of an artist. I think we should always echo this and work on the long term, like work on our children, work on the youth, to remind them to do the right choices.
Indeed. And Wissam, you told us that, for example, when it comes to artists working in Lebanon today, your heads are elsewhere. But how do you see the impact of recent events on the Lebanese art scene? How is it shaping what's being produced, what's being seen and heard?
I think it's not an immediate process. I think it takes time. It takes time to process all this. And maybe in a few years, we'll be able to start seeing films or stories or books that talk about that. Right now, where the artists are still absorbing, and there's not many of them left. So for the ones of them left, I think, unfortunately, war makes powerful stories. This is what I always say. It's a bad thing. The good side of it is it's stories to tell for generations to come. How will we tell them through drama, through humor, through sadness? Every artist is gonna have its take on them. But for the moment, I think we're still observing, we're still feeling things, and who knows when we'll be able to cope and talk about them through our works of art.
And in the more immediate short term, it's a big question, of course, at this extremely difficult time. But what is your hope for the short-term future of Lebanon?
Today, my immediate hope is that Lebanon will be able to hold on. I mean, I really hope it will be the shortest war possible, because Lebanon didn't really need this war, neither did the Middle East, neither did the Lebanese. So the big question is, how long is Lebanon going to be able to hold on before everything crashes, economically, mentally, humanitarian, everything. So I really, truly hope it will be the shortest war possible.
And Zeid, what about you for the Lebanese people in Lebanon?
Well, I've been hearing a lot disputes and fractures within the Lebanese society. You know, I hope that the Lebanese can be united. You know, stop saying it's the other's fault and the other's fault. We need to be really at that moment really together and support each other, whatever the community. And this is what has been able to beat us, is that we never behave as one people. We always play the games of the politicians. We must help each other, especially now. And then later we must reflect on why we are being divided.
A strong message of unity there then. Thank you so much for joining us today, Zeid and Wissam. Do join us next time here on Arts 24 and on our social media channels too. There's more news coming up here on France 24 just after this.